This is from Page with Njideka, Maduka, bringing clarity to the headlines, one page at a time.
That's right, a delightful day too, a day to keep tabs on all the developments in and around the country. I hope your day is going very well. I'm asking the question because you never can tell. Sometimes you can bask in the euphoria of the beautiful day and something else happens and will help you if your story makes headline. But then again, it's July the 4th, 2025, and we're here to bring the front pages to. The name is Njideka. And so let's get started with it because plenty of things are happening. We have the Vanguard, we have the Punch, we have the Nation, and politicians won't leave us alone because the first headline on the front page of the Vanguard is a continuation of that big story yesterday, the political story. This one says ADC coalition alliance displaced the politicians' presidency. ADC coalition alliance of displaced politicians' presidency. You know, it's just in this country I heard for the first time what is called internally displaced politicians. Okay, I guess that's what the presidency is saying of coalition members of the new political bride, the ADC. While the lead says following the takeover of the African Democratic Congress ADC by leading opposition figures, the presidency yesterday marked the newly formed opposition coalition, describing it as a hollow alliance of displaced politicians. Now, this came from the special advisor to the president on media and public communications, that is Sunday Dara. He said these politicians are just desperate. They're desperate for power. They were displaced, they were not considered for one thing or the other, and they just deemed fit to get back at the president. Beyond that, he also thinks that these people have got nothing outstanding about them. You know, he said they can't do it like us. The way Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to rally around opposition figures in 2015. Nobody in the ADC can do it, and they don't have a big figure like Buhari, just like they had it in 2015. And I think that's what the coalition will have to really think about. They have to bring out somebody they think is deserving of that presidential seat. All of the egos will need to go if ADC is to be taken seriously. And so, are you considering Atiku Abubakar? Are you considering Peter Obi? I'm also hearing that Rotimi Major is in consideration. So, who are they going to pick? Once they can answer this question, is goodbye to that dream. Wike is also talking as well because we're also learning that he held a media chart, which has become a habit that some people are baffled with because how does a minister keep on holding a press conference like he was the president? Well, Wike's argument is quite simple. He thinks that the claim that these coalition members, the Nigerians, are hungry or angry is a disservice to sincerity because all of them, most of them actually occupied prominent positions during the time and they were not able to address Nigeria's hunger and anger. Okay, he goes on further to say, if PDP can get their acts together, that is the only party that poses a threat to President Tinubu and not this coalition party. Well, there are so many challenges for this coalition. I'm wondering if they can disappoint people like Wike. In all the news, under this headline as well, the PDP is saying that it has not officially joined any coalition. That came from their spokesperson, Debo Ologunogba. I mean, that is what is actually known. We know that some people have their one foot in the coalition and one foot in the main party, their own main party. it's just left for us to see which wins at the end of the day. Oman Demango, who is also the acting chairman of the PDP, is also against this coalition. Recently, the PDP was able to work out the internal wrangling by mentioning Samuel Anyanwu as their national secretary. Would that make people like Atiku come back? Because the fear had been there that if they don't get their acts together, the possibility of INEC not recognizing any document not properly signed by executive members is there. So if anyone has been recognized, will Atiku come back? But beyond that, is Atiku also worried that PDP may not choose him for 2027? Is that part of the reason why he's seeking this coalition? Because some people have said he was the one that brought the crisis that took place in the PDP. Well, we'll see what really unfolds. Labour Party is also speaking. Nenadi Usman faction is replying the Julius Abere faction, who gave Peter Obi and others ultimatum because they were actually forming alliance with the coalition. Obiora Ife, who is the publicity secretary of the Julius Abere-led faction, is actually saying, well, we're giving you 48 hours to leave Labour Party if you're forming coalition. But Nenadi Usman is saying, to hell with you. Okay, you have no right to do that. Still on the Vanguard newspaper, Adati Ahmed is speaking. He was the vice presidential candidate to Peter Obi in 2023. Well, the headline is saying Peter Obi should not be coalition's VP candidate. Peter Obi should not be coalition's VP candidate. Well, he spoke during an interview. He has been one vocal person. And of course, he's saying if anybody is considering people that should contend, Obi should contend, Atiku should contend, Rotimi Amechi should contend, but the main person that should clinch that ticket is Peter Obi. It's not surprising because he was his vice presidential candidate. Amechi was mentioned, and that is something to take note of, because yesterday I asked the question and I said, I don't know if he's going to contest, because I know he also contested the APC primary in 2023 and he came second. Will he be trying his chances again? But Dachi Ahmed perhaps has also heard that Amechi might be interested. He said, well, he should be part of the people to be considered, but Obi should clinch it. Amechi also granted an interview yesterday, hinting at the fact that he may be interested. And he said he's ready to bring out all of his documents to show Nigerians how sincere he is. And I'm just thinking, won't this cause some sort of confusion? I mean, why don't you just leave it for people like Atiku and Obi so that the coalition can be more focused? If you draw in a number of persons, won't that create more confusion? Well, this is going to be one hell of a contest that is 2027. Well, this story from the Vanguard is really a sad one. He wrote his name in gold. Tinubu mourns Peter Rufai. He wrote his name in gold. Tinubu mourns Peter Rufai. That's a former Super Eagles caretaker. We learned that he died yesterday after a brief illness. He was aged 61. The president, speaking through his media aide, Bayon Onuga, said, I recall with fond memories the heroic contributions of Peter Rufai in the historic victory of the Super Eagles at the 1994 edition of the AFCON in Tunisia. He said he was the first choice goalkeeper for that tournament. And of course, under him as well, Nigeria made the first appearance at the FIFA World Cup in USA in 1994. Well, may he so rest in peace. I think his days were the glory days of Nigeria football. I mean, when you mention all of the super names, Kocha, Kanu, Rashidi, Yakini, all of those people, they remind me of the glory days of Nigeria football. Moving away from the Vanguard, we're moving on to Punch. Punch is also leading us on the front page with the coalition story. 2027 showdown. Coalition slams Tinubu as Wike ADC trade blows. 2027 star showdown. Coalition slams Tinubu as Wike ADC trade blows. While the story continues, like I said earlier on, this coalition will have to prove naysayers wrong. APC Publicity Secretary also joined in the mud fight, that is Felix Morka. He says it's a gathering of deceivers and self-centered individuals driven by personal grudges. And of course, a subhead there says Wike mocks a coalition. The story of legendary Rufai is also there. Tributes as the Eagles legend Rufai dies at 61. Still on the punch is a human interest story here. Woman bags 5-year jail for human trafficking in Anambra. Woman bags 5-year jail for human trafficking in Anambra. A high court sitting in Anambra State, presided over by Justice P. Uti, has sentenced a 44-year-old woman, Goodness Daniel, to 5 years imprisonment with an option of a fine for 2 million naira for human trafficking. You know what they say, every day fool the thief, one day fool the owner. We're learning that this judgment was delivered sometime in June, but I think Punch was able to get wind of the judgment yesterday. The story as well on the front page of the Punch, FG sets July date for petrol pricing summit. FG sets July date for petrol pricing summit. A summit to be held following the concerns over petroleum pricing is fixed for July the 23rd. And well, it's supposed to be a free market economy, and I wonder why that is concerned about pricing. And that's basically because so many things have not been taken care of. I mean, people like the NNPCL that are supposed to provide the crude to Dangote are not doing so optimally, at least, because they have other commitments. And that's why Dangote is going to places like the US to import fuel. And when he imports, and people are concerned about the pricing, even though sometimes he reduces his own price. You see what is going on here? The refineries that are supposed to be working are not working, and you wonder why people are worried about pricing when all of the things that are supposed to be taken care of are not being taken care of. But all the way from that story, Nation newspaper is up next. The front page is also leading us with the coalition news. We will challenge ADC takeover in court. Atiku vows. We will challenge ADC takeover in court. Atiku vows. That's that maybe Atiku, who was the presidential candidate of the ADC in 2023. You know, we told you yesterday that he is against what happened the other time in terms of members of other parties using the ADC as a coalition platform. Apart from the legality of the leadership of ADC, which he thinks is not the right leadership to hand over to coalition people. He also thinks that this coalition just wants Atiku to be the presidential candidate, and Atiku is from the north, and he thinks that another shouldn't be the presidential candidate. He said he went to a coalition meeting one time, and that was the talk. They were hinting at the fact that Atiku has to be the main person. And he thinks that is not right, because if you want to take over, he thinks it should be somebody from the south. Well, I didn't know that parties now respect each other's zoning. I would think that the powerful parties like the APC and the PDP didn't give a hoot when it comes to this zoning. But apparently, people like him think that if Tinubu was to lose any seat and the other party wins, it should be somebody from the same zone as the president who launched. In all of these things, I think Nigerians will have to have the final say. Some people will say they are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Yes, the economic hardship is glaring, is biting hard, and that makes it more reasonable why they should be considering another maybe party in 2027. But when you look back, there has never been any time the country has been optimally and well run And during those times, you would think that Nigerians should have options and alternatives like the smaller parties, but it appears they don't like to go for the smaller parties. I mean, there should be a theory that explains the reason why Nigerians still cling to big parties that supposedly do not provide them with the right leadership. And we're moving away. The second headline on the front page of the Nation: reports of Buhari's critical illness exaggerated, says aide. Reports of Buhari's critical illness exaggerated, says aide. We're learning that the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, is ill, but his former aide, Bashir Ahmed, is debunking the claim that he is critically ill. Yes, he is ill, but not critically ill, to the extent of fighting for his life at a London hospital at the intensive care unit. I remember during his time, this issue of ill health was also a major talking point. At a point in time, we didn't know where our president was. I remember, I think a foreign media was asking the question on their front page, where is Nigeria's president? Okay, we didn't know where our president was. And until he left office, we never really knew what was ailing our president. Except for one time, Femi Adesina hinted that he had an ear and nose infection or something like that. Nothing was really certain about what he was suffering from. But last but not least, there's still the story on the Dogomayana. I forgot to call him that. Dogomayana, that is Peter Rufai, our former goalkeeper. Tinubu NFF orders lead tributes for Peter Rufai. Tinubu NFF orders lead tributes for Peter Rufai. We're closing on a sad note. I think this one was really, really sad. And, this is one thing we really can't wish away. It just comes when it comes. We pray that his soul rests in peace. I don't think he was one of those players that were not well treated when he was alive. One of those players that gave their best to the nation that were not really treated well. I'll get to hear some not so palatable stories for some old players, but not Peter Rufai. We're closing up the headlines today. That's it for the front page for today. Let's know what you think in the comment section. Which of the stories tickles your fancy? Drop your comments and let's keep the conversation going. My name is Njideka Maduka. Wishing you the best of the day. Go out there, achieve and conquer, but don't make the negative headline. Otherwise, I'll come back here and read it for you. See you again.